Hello and welcome back to the podcast. This is Couples Therapy with Candice and Casey. And it's been how long has it been? It's been a full week since
we haven't done it at all this year. Don't you like that joke? Never gets
It's a little late for that joke.
We haven't done it in months.
But it's great to be back, and we have a lot to talk about. So put on your dancing shoes, and here we go.
Candice and Casey's podcast. They're doing couples therapy.
So why did you say you never wanted to do it again? I know why. Do you know when you said I want to cancel it, that I had to talk to my therapist about it, and I called my sister crying?
Can we give this some context? What if they don't know what we're talking about?
Yeah, I said we need to do I kept bothering you that we need to do a podcast, and you said I want to do it.
Just a little while ago.
And then I was like, come on, and you're like, no, I don't want to do it, just cancel it.
That's not what happened.
I can pull up the text.
The tweet you wrote.
No, the text.
Okay, here's what happened. We haven't done a podcast in a while. Well, okay, let me give you all a little context. So the podcast we record at 368 at my studio, and Candice comes down, and there's usually a little bit of flux in the timing, but
and by flux, I'm here ready to go, and you're like, we need to do it earlier. I can't do it any later, and I'm still the one that's always ready.
Fair enough. There was a lot going on, and I was frustrated, and I was angry at the world, and I was busy that day, and you were like harassing me or something. And I was like, I can't do it. And you said something like, we should just cancel it then, to be snooty.
No, that is not what I said. Let's find it.
Honey, I was really hoping that our first podcast back would be super cheery and stuff.
We are cheery. We love each other so much.
Why don't we talk about our family vacation and all the positive things that happened on our family trip?
Okay.
I have a question for you about the trip to South Africa.
Yes.
I'm meaning to ask you this.
Mm.
Were you deliberately on your best behavior?
No. Do I ever do that?
Yes.
When?
Sometimes you work hard to be nice.
Well, there's a difference between working hard at it. It comes from a deep, deep place versus la-di-da, I'm going to pretend nothing bothers me. I was being very natural. I was very happy.
So in South Africa, in Cape Town, that's where Candice was born, there's Candice's family's house, and it's a house that her grandfather built 80 years ago or whatever. And we all go down there. When I say we all, I mean her family and the kids, and it's a family reunion almost every year, every other year around the holidays. And I think in the last, 12 years of us going there, it's always sort of panned out the same way, which is halfway through the trip, you start to get frustrated. Usually maybe even there's a family argument in there that I'm not involved with. And then I'm starting to leave the house more and have fun with my South African friends and go surfing. Then you start to get angry at me for doing my own thing. And then it sort of boils over and the trip ends with you being like, we shouldn't have come here for so long. And you're not spending time with me. I don't even know why we blah, blah, blah. And then we sort of pout. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I think there's a few things. One, getting the extra car.
Okay.
Buying that Jeep last year made a huge difference because there were 12 people in the house at all times and one person had the car, and you'd always fuck off at 8 o'clock and not come back till 10 because you had to go work out. This year it wasn't so bad because, you had your own car.
And your sister was there.
And it was a full house, so it was better.
But you didn't even get mad at me those days when I said I'm going to get lunch with Dan, and then I came back 9 hours later.
No, because you know why? No, you know why?
Nah.
Because you didn't make me feel bad about not wanting to go. Normally every year you're so tough on me about not going out every night, not doing adventures. I've been going to Cape Town since I was 1. I've done it all. I'm not interested. I'm also not 20 years old. When I was 20, I used to abseil off the mountain and go sandboarding with snowboards and hike through the forests. And I used to do all that stuff. I just don't do it anymore.
Speaking of when you were 20, did you see the video I posted today?
No.
I show a picture of you with no clothes on it when you're 20.
What picture do you have of me with no clothes on?
I mean, Candice,
I thought we got rid of all of those.
Volumes.
Didn't we get rid of that? Where was the picture taken?
Don't remember, but you were holding your dog. Aww. So anyway, we didn't fight this trip in South Africa. It was kind of great.
Well, you were also entertained because Scotty was there.
Yeah, and I also think that Candice does this thing where she gets jet lagged, and like, so this year, whatever, we went for like 12 days. It takes her 11 full days to get over the jet lag. So it's like anybody's ever had jet lag, they're like, you have to fight it and don't go to sleep because then you'll sleep all the next day. Okay, that's what I do, and I'm fine 24 hours later. Candice embraces it. So she goes to bed at like 4 in the afternoon. She wakes up at 11 at night. She's up from 11 at night till 6 in the morning. Then she sleeps from 6 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon and does that for the entire trip. And that's pretty annoying when like your only friend is Candice. But this year I had my brother-in-law, and I had Dan, and I had my boxing trainer. I went to the horse track. Awesome. It's awesome.
See, it was a good trip because you just kind of left me alone.
I know,
fantastic.
and you did well. How was therapy this morning, Candice?
You know,
I was very disappointed in myself for not making it.
it's fine.
No, I wanted to go for me, not for you.
Oh, cool. It was good. I don't remember what we talked about. Oh, I know what we talked about.
Spill it.
It's not juicy at all, but I got invited to be a guest at a luncheon on Friday.
Wait, what does that even mean?
Okay, a luncheon, like ladies who lunch, like exactly what I'm not.
Is it like 4 women going to a restaurant, or like
it's
50
like-
people organized
Well,
by...
that's what I didn't know. I thought it was like maybe 25, 30 people who are on like the board of like the Hudson River Park. Like they raise money for the playgrounds and stuff. Great cause. I was supposed to be a guest at someone's table that had like bought a table. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll go. And then I like got online and started searching for like old pictures. 'Cause I'm like, what am I supposed to wear to this? Like jeans or a skirt? And it's women decked out from head to toe with their like $50,000 handbags. And I was just like panicking. I was really bothered by I called and canceled that night. Because then I spoke to my friend Christina, who's like, oh yeah, I'm like on the board of that
Do you have to pay to go to
too.
the lunch?
No, because I was a guest of somebody at their table.
Is the food free?
Yes, but the point is, it's like a 600-woman lunch of like fancy, fancy women, right? And I do not belong in that group. The point is, why was I so scared to go to something like this? Why did I feel like I didn't belong? Is it just the clothes? Because I could go just buy an outfit. But like, it's all I thought about from the minute I said yes until I canceled.
Is it those people don't like you?
They probably don't like me.
Because
my roots are showing. I still have gray that I need to cover up. And because I don't have a manicure. And because I don't know. Anyway, I was talking to her about why that made me so nervous.
And what was the conclusion, Candice?
It was a combination of things. It was a combination of me being okay with not actually wanting to be a part of that world. And then me being scared of being part of that world, that I won't be accepted. But she's like, that's okay. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. You're so fun. You're the opposite. You can go anywhere and act like you belong.
It's what's the opposite of an inferiority complex?
It's superiority. You just think you're better than everyone in every situation. I know.
That's not true. I only feel emboldened when I'm around people that are more fancy than I am.
Like when we were younger and we used to go to those like events at the Whitney or whatever and those parties where you get photographed, I was always felt like I didn't belong. I'd have to like do drugs before I went just so I could talk to people.
Candice.
Yeah, it's true.
Candice.
And then I just learned to stay away.
Those parties that she's referring to. So like my social life in my 20s, this is like pre-social media. There's always a party in New York City, or at least there was when I was younger. So all you have to do is, 1, know what the party is, and then 2, know how to get in. And then once you're in, all the booze is free, and the food is free, and the socializing. It's like a way to hack New York City's social life.
Yeah, but then you're a hack.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one word that would be engraved on my tombstone, it'd be Casey Neistat.
The hack. See, and I'm the opposite. I'm like, if I don't really, really, absolutely belong there, then I don't want to be there.
But who really belongs anywhere?
I don't know.
Do you think those fancy people think they belong? They're just looking around being like, shit, her dress is nicer than mine. Or like, damn, I wish I had those fancy earrings. Nobody belongs in those environments. It's just it's what you bring to it.
Okay, let me put it in a different perspective. So, when you have like a brand, you want to be in a magazine so people learn about you. That's kind of how it is, or you want to be spoken about or whatever. I was never okay with like pitching myself to people and like hoping they'd write about me. Ooh, do they like me? Ooh, do they like my stuff? And the minute I stopped caring, I felt much better about what I was doing.
Hey, when was the last time you saw the movie Swingers?
Is this like a detour?
No, this is. I'm keeping the train right on the tracks.
Yeah, I saw it maybe 10 years ago.
So there's a whole monologue at the beginning of that where he's saying the only way that you'll get your girlfriend back is if you stop thinking about her, because they know if you care, and if you care, then they're not going to think about you. So you just have to stop caring. The minute that you stop caring, you become more appealing to them. And I think there's a parallel between that and what you're describing.
Yeah.
It was like if you come across as desperate, who wants to write about someone who's desperate?
I don't want somebody to I don't want to show up at that party and people be like, Candice is here? What's she doing here?
Why would they think that?
I don't know. This is what goes on in my mind. I think this is why I ended up being like a introvert. I thought I was an extrovert when I was younger. I thought I was like, let's go wherever. And I'm not. I just want to stay at home with people I trust.
Do you want to know what goes through my head when I show up at those sorts of parties?
What?
Have you ever seen Hulk Hogan's WWF entrance in the 1980s?
Yes.
Where it's like the lights turn off and all of a sudden his music starts playing. It's like, I am a real American. That was his entrance music. And then like boom, 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 fireworks goes off and he comes in and it's like bow, 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 and he tears off his shirt and everybody's screaming his name. When I go to like a black tie event, that's what I feel like everyone's thinking when I walk through the door. When I went to the horse race in South Africa, that's what I felt like in the room with all the Cartier executives.
And I would have been like, do they even know that my grandfather was part of this club? How do I let them know that I definitely belong here?
Right. And I was just standing on a table flexing.
Oh, God. That's why we're married.
Yeah, the yin and the yang. I think I might have converted from extrovert to introvert. I'm much more conscious of the fact that I don't like being around people. You should have seen me try to get lunch today at the grocery store.
Yeah, but yours is a different thing.
Mine's like super crazy.
It's the strangers and the people coming up to you.
And just so at home, just let me qualify that. I never mind when like somebody comes up and asks for a selfie or says hi. Like that's like such a flattering, kind thing to get to experience. Like what a privilege. It's when you're at these sort of social settings that is ostensibly about camaraderie and kinship and being around friends and being around people who are interested in you. And I think since like the YouTube kind of fame thing, when I'm in those environments, I don't feel like people are being genuine to me. People treat me different.
Lee.
And that difference. And that difference I interpret as disingenuous.
Well, it's really funny because you know how we went to that conference every year that I absolutely love, but I'm not going to name it. And I was devastated that we weren't going this last year, but I completely understand why you didn't want to go because all these people are there to network, but it's almost like they weren't trying to network with you. They just wanted a selfie for their kids. And that was so gross.
Yeah, it's difficult because it's like, why do people want to be near me? You start thinking all these very weird kind of thoughts that don't make a lot of sense. And the other thing that's hard about it is nobody can really empathize with that, you know?
Well, that's what gets me so mad when my mother is like, no, but that's what he signed up for. It's like, not really.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about that this morning on the car ride to work.
Yeah. And it's not, and your mother's a totally empathetic person, but that's just something she could never identify with. So to her, I think you can't expect her to understand what that's like for me. You know? I had a death in the family. I haven't talked about that.
It's not really your family, though.
It's my family.
No, it's not.
Well, he's not my family, but it could, yeah, of course.
Casey, you had no relationship with him. I'm not trying to minimize
You
the
are
seriousness of
people are
death.
going to think you're a villain.
No. This is like, literally, we would have lunch with your mom and he would sit in the car.
He's still my stepfather.
Oh, right.
She's still my mom.
She's still your mom.
My mother's husband passed away this weekend. It still sucks.
Help me understand that.
Well, I mean, one, he's a human being. He's a good
Well,
guy.
yes.
So, of course,
okay, I'm
there's
not
like,
trying to be a monster for that, but I don't understand why you're
that's always tragic.
personally affected by it.
Because it's like, I can only see it as how it impacts my mother. And my mom, she's almost 70 years old, and like that was her partner. And I think it's hard to find a new partner in life at that age. And like, what if she doesn't find a new partner? That's sad. You don't think that's sad? You're like rolling your eyes.
I'm not. I just have it's a very touchy subject, I think.
Well, I think it's sad. The whole thing's sad. Just sad. It's called couples therapy. Therapy me.
Yeah, but I'm not your therapist.
Who's the therapist here? The microphone. So, the reason why I had the naked picture of you in today's video is because my dad had to get all the stuff out of his attic.
Oh, yeah.
So I went to Connecticut and I picked up 3 milk crates of his, of my old pictures. And I still can't find, or I'm still missing like a whole bunch. I don't know where they are. But in those milk crates were some really gnarly photos. And my dad was like helping me rifle through them. So I was like, anything that's not a photo, throw it away. So there's like a bunch of random paper stuff in there. And the poor old man.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
Was it like all naked?
There wasn't any.
X-rated or R-rated?
There wasn't anything like. There was nothing. There were a lot of boobs.
Could you see my vagina?
No, Candice.
Oh.
God. You know how uncomfortable that word makes me.
That's why I said vagina.
But my dad was like, here you go. And he'd like hand me a stack of photos and the top one
no.
the top one would be upside down. And it'd just be like a stack of you running around the house naked.
Oh, God. Poor guy.
Why
He's
would you-
not who I'd want to see me pictures of me naked.
What? Who would you want to see pictures?
I mean, I don't think my mom would care. I don't think Owen would care.
Do you know that I found a naked picture of your mom once in the house in South Africa?
How old was she?
Like 20.
Oh. No. Naked?
Topless.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she was fit.
Fit.
Yeah.
Candice and I, last night was Wednesday night, so Candice and I had our Wednesday night date. Every Wednesday night we have
Every Wednesday night, starting last night.
we have a babysitter, stays till 8 p.m. and right?
Yeah.
We actually let her go early.
No, we get
Last night you
6
said
to
home at
8,
7.
7:45. I'm like, you can go.
It's funny because it's true, but last night was date night. And my idea was to go for a walk, but that was a little too crazy for Candice. So we didn't even make it on a walk. We walked out of our street, out of our door, into the mall, back from the mall. Candice's idea, this is not a joke. It's not even funny.
What?
Candice's idea for what we should do on our date is sit in the couch in the lobby of our apartment building. Like with our home upstairs, you wanted to sit there. And there's like a doorman
there were no
in our
kids
building.
down there.
It's just like it's a very public. We can't even talk down there without having a doorman hear what you're saying, and that was the best we could come up with. Remember this, kids. This is your fate. This is what's coming. This is what you can expect. You marry your sweetheart, and maybe someday, if you're real lucky, the two of you can walk around the neighborhood once and then sit in the couch in the lobby of your apartment building, and
It's
that
so
is
funny.
date night.
I know. I was talking to Christina, my friend down the street, who has 3 kids. Her 3rd kid was born the same day as Franny. And her oldest kid is the same age as Franny.
Do they do date night?
I asked her, I was like, do you, with your husband,
Wait. What is the
hang out?
Are you talking? Is that a euphemism?
It might be. She's like, it's really hard to figure it out. Like, we're so tired all the time.
Are
There's
you-
kids all over the house. She's like, that's why we have to go away on holiday. So, I think that you and I should go away somewhere.
I will say a little credit to Candice Poole that in our Thanksgiving, in our Christmas, in our holiday trip to South Africa, Candice had the foresight to pick one night where she booked a place, a hotel in the countryside, and we and her sister and her sister's husband, the four of us with no kids, had one night away at a wine farm.
It was called Babylon Storen, and if anybody goes to South Africa, to Cape Town, and wants to stay on a wine farm for a night, holy cannoli, was that place gorgeous.
So Candice had the foresight to book and the four of us had a night away without the kids, and we drank wine.
We drank a lot of wine. We did a lot of exploring in our gumboots, and
Gumboots are big rubber boots, and they gave them to you at that place as like part of your hotel room.
gumboots.
But I was the only person who put them on.
No, Scotty had them on.
But I was the only person they looked good on.
And
oh, I have something that I need to talk to you about.
What?
So I have to go to Sundance next week. It's confirmed. So next Saturday, I have to be there.
How long are you going for?
Well, that's the thing. I want to drive.
What?
Yeah.
Why? See, that's just selfish shit. Like, you got a family here. We're not going with you. You can't just be like, oh, well, this is something I want to do. I'm going to take an extra 3 days away from my family and my wife and my responsibilities because I want to drive to Sundance.
I think it'd be 4 days.
That's bullshit. Why do you want to do that?
Because I want to leave the car in California, and I don't want to have to pay to park it in New York City anymore.
So there's companies that you put it on the back of a truck and they take it to where you're going.
But it costs like $500 to do that.
I'll pay the $500.
And I also just want to do it.
Yeah, see? I want to do a lot of stuff.
Do it. I'll support you. I noticed that you're moving on from Sundance.
Well, because I know you'll do the right thing.
Great. So I already made the booking.
No.
What's the right thing in your brain?
You don't do it. You don't go for 5 days away from your family.
I think I can do it in 4 days.
No.
5 days.
No.
Are we going to talk about this after the podcast?
We're going to talk about it with Dr. P next week. This is fucking bullshit.
The thing is, I might have already left before our next actual therapy appointment. So I feel like this is our shot to really suss this out. And I've been thinking about my position, and I think that I really think that I don't think... What are you so stressed out for? You have your hand over your face? Are you crying?
No. I'm literally sitting here thinking, what can I do that you can't say no to right now because I'm going to let you go? What can I do?
Why don't we examine this, Candice? Why does it bother you?
Because...
I think it just bothers you because you're jealous and it's a lack of control.
I don't think it's a lack of... It's that
I think that you're upset because you don't feel like you could do something like this, but I can do something like this.
Yeah, for sure. I think that... But that's because I'm a better person than you. Because I would never ask to do something like that.
Why?
Because I'm considerate. Like, I'm going on a reunion trip with my girls from college, and instead of taking off Thursday to Tuesday, I'm only going to leave you on Friday because that's the nice thing to do.
Is it?
Yes. I'd rather if you took 5 days away from our life, it was so that you and I could go away together for 5 days.
I'll do that anytime.
Yeah, but not in addition to.
Sure. See, I think what's going on here is that you harbor all this guilt, and then you project that guilt onto me. For example, I have encouraged you to go away with your girlfriends for like the last 3 years. I've offered to like book a trip and do something special, like go down to Miami and stay in a hotel or...
Because girls don't up and leave their family like that. Like, for me to organize with 3 or 4 of my girlfriends that have kids, it wouldn't happen.
But
because women don't do that. They don't just fuck off.
But the girls you work with, they ain't got no kids.
I'm not talking about them.
What are we talking about?
Me just upping and going away with girls. And plus, I want to go on Siege with those girls, and you said no.
Okay, I encourage you to do it. I've always encouraged you to go away. See, I think you going away and doing something for yourself would be really healthy. There's this like math equation. It's like, what's best for me is what's best for you and me. And I think you taking some time to yourself would be great for you, but I think it would better me because it would be It's good for both of us. Does that make any sense? So I encourage that, and I don't think it's any burden. I'm more than happy to take the girls by myself. I went to Christmas by myself. I was so happy.
I know, but then it does become a control thing, because you taking the girls by yourself means all of a sudden Franny is eating candy at 2 a.m. and not brushing her teeth.
What are you talking about? I brought her back from Christmas as happy and healthy as can be.
I saw pictures.
What kind of pictures?
Starburst all over the kitchen counter.
No.
Yes. You wonder why she won't eat real food.
We made a gingerbread house, and I gave her macaroni and cheese. She didn't even eat the gingerbread house.
Macaroni and cheese is like so,
Not good.
not good. All the people that say like, oh, Candice is so lucky to have Casey and she's just using him for whatever. I hope they listen to this and understand what I have to put up with.
Why is this? See, now, Candice, let's examine that. See, I mean, I spend a lot of time thinking about this because I want to understand why it bothers you. And where it keeps coming back to me is it bothers you because it's something that you feel like you could never do.
I think you have
let
to
me finish talk. It feels like something you feel like you could never do. And I want to understand why you feel like you couldn't do it.
You can't understand because you're a man.
Well, that's a convenient excuse.
It's not an excuse.
Try me. I'm very open-minded.
It just for the same reason you can't understand why not feeding Francine candy is important.
I don't feed her candy.
Bullshit, Casey.
We have a very...
Cookies. You make cookies for breakfast. You're laughing right now. I know.
That is true.
It's something that only a woman would understand. I think that it's like biological and it has to do with how our brains work. Just like guys always think about sex and girls always think about chocolate. It's just different.
I don't always think about sex, Candice.
Right.
I think it's much deeper. I think that we can talk about your parents. I think your dad's always done what he wants to do and your mother's never felt like she's had a sense of control.
That's your issue. You have this thing where like you think my dad is completely
awesome.
There was something else you personally said.
Rad.
No.
Cool as shit.
Defeated.
That is not.
You did say that. So you have this thing where you don't want to ever feel like you feel defeated because of my control.
Well,
so you have to assert your...
That's not totally untrue.
Right.
I think it's a pretty astute observation.
Thank you.
I think that your mother works very hard to... Your mother is, without a doubt, sort of the alpha, the decision maker in your parents' relationship. Is that a fair thing to say?
Yeah.
And I think that that's sort of your default, is that you feel like you should be the decision maker.
In some instances, yes.
And I think it should be a democracy.
Wait, no. Redact. I don't think that's true. I think that I get frustrated when you disagree with me. I don't think it has it doesn't have to do with control. It's like in some cases I know I'm right. And I know you're wrong. And those are the times when we butt heads.
I want to know why you feel like you can't do these things. Because every answer you've given I don't think is fair.
Because I feel a responsibility.
For what?
To stay.
Why?
Stop. You're going to force me into admitting something.
I mean it. No, because here's what I want. Like, I think that if you felt like you had a sense of freedom, that you feel like you surrendered when we had a family, I think if you were to get a little piece of that back, you would be a happier, more well-rounded person. And I have to say, in your not in your defense, but like to give you credit, that when Francine was first born, for the first year or two, you were in a permanent state of panic because you had to surrender who you were as a single woman in New York City, and now you're a mother in New York City, and your life change was so radical. And I think that was like, that manifested as you and I fighting a lot. And now you've found, I think, a greater sense of self, and you've, a greater appreciation for everything. But I think you could go much further, because I'm super, super open-minded and liberal when it comes to you doing whatever the hell you want to do.
I think
to be an independent person.
Well, there's two things. There is a sense of guilt of leaving the children and leaving Franny. There is a sense of fear that, like, if I leave, are you going to be able to handle everything? Which is not a valid fear.
No,
but okay,
come on, I'm great.
Then the third thing is that, like, I kind of get upset when you leave for so many days and you say, like, go to your friends, you're free, do whatever you want. I don't want to I want to go with you. Like, I would rather you take 5 days and come do something with me. I don't want to go. I can go to Houston and visit my girlfriends. But if I'm going to take the time away from my work and family, then I want it to be because you and I are doing something together.
See, that's fair and that's flattering. And I love having one-on-one time with you. But I think that, especially recently, something that I've realized is that, like, I need more time to myself, and I don't have that. And maybe you don't need that, and that's okay. But I need that so bad. Like, I was just thinking this summer for July 4th, like, I had a day where I drove. Remember you and Franny flew there or something, and I drove there. And it was nothing but a day to myself. And, like, I'm thinking about that right now. That was 6 months ago. And I look in the course of a week. In the week, I might have an hour or two to myself, maybe.
Bull, you have all day to yourself.
I'm surrounded by people here. I have employees and to manage people. And
Well, you stay at home till like 1.
And at home, there's people there. Like, I don't get time to myself to think.
No, I get it. Like, I like the days when I can go for a walk in the afternoon and not be bothered with anything.
It's part of the reason why, like, my running is something that I protect so much. Is like, I do like the physical part, but it's the only time I get alone. Literally says in my headphones, "Don't talk to me." And not to go too far down this rabbit hole, but, like, I think that part of that's New York City's fault. Like, right now, you and I physically can't walk outside without somebody running into us. We can't go to a restaurant or go to a Starbucks without being surrounded by. You're never alone in New York City. And the fact that between, it's you, me, and 2 babies at home, even when we're at home, we're not alone. And then when there's babysitters and your mom and family, and it's just like, it's relentless. And I realize, like, I have no alone time in my whole life. In any event, and part of the reason why I got excited about this idea of spending 4 days alone in my car is it's just like, what a magical thing. I'd, like, listen to podcasts and books on tape and think.
Okay, go for it.
And to finish all this off, now that I've successfully convinced you, to finish all this off, if you were to come to me and I challenge you to this and say a version to me of any version of what I just said to you about something that you need, that involves you leaving me and leaving the kids for your own personal well-being, I can assure you, no matter what it is, you get nothing but support from me.
Oh, I do know that. I do know that.
I get so excited when you go away, or even when you go out to dinner with your girlfriends.
Oh, but then you do throw that back in my face, the dinner thing.
Yeah, I do.
Why do you do that?
Because, like, when I'm an hour late for work, you like, raise the red flags and, like, wage war for me not giving you notice. And then you do it all the time like it's no big deal. And it's not a big deal. I just get mad at you because you get mad at me.
That's healthy.
I get mad at the hypocrisy, not the action. That is healthy. Not healthy, but that's part of the process.
Okay. Well, I'm just telling you in advance that I probably will be home late tomorrow.
What's tomorrow?
It's a Friday.
It's bullshit. What are you doing?
It's a Friday.
You didn't give me any notice.
I'm giving you notice now.
What is it? What are you doing, though?
I might go get some Lambrusco.
With who?
Morgan and Hannah.
I don't want this to happen. You need to be home.
You're welcome to come join us.
No, I don't want you going out. I'm just joking. It's funny, right? But you didn't know that I was joking.
Seriously.
You did?
Yes.
So Shabbat dinner for the Goyim out there. Shabbat dinner is a thing that Jewish people do. We're not super Jewish, but every Friday night we try to have like a family dinner. And when we were in South Africa, we were at Candice's kind of cousins, right? They're kind of cousins.
Yeah, basically.
And it was mixed company, and we were having Shabbat dinner. Okay, I have no idea how I entered the conversation, but I mean truly mixed company and a lot of older people at this dinner. And something came up where somebody asked me about something else. And I was like, yeah, of course. Back in high school, we were on the wrestling team. And
that's how it started, yeah.
We had big open showers, and me and the guys used to love wrestling around. And, we'd dress in a lot of leathers, and there were ball gags, and there was a lot of touching. And Candice is just shaking her head because she knows I'm just making a bad joke. But the older South African Jewish women in the room had no idea that I was joking, and the looks of horror, on their faces. I'm volunteering this information at a Shabbat dinner. That was one of the highlights of the trip for me.
No.
No. Seeing Dan was. Although seeing Dan was
I
a little
love Dan.
bit... I know it was a little sad, right?
He's the best.
The poor guy.
Shame.
I know. Because he wants to come back to New York, but he's still like, there's still a couple more delays that he has to deal with, like some bureaucratic stuff. It's very hard if all you have is a South African passport. But I am happy that he's getting married.
Yeah, she's a dear.
I know. Okay, question. How's he going to be here when she has to deal with all that paperwork? How do you do a long distance relationship that's like 16,000 miles apart? How many miles to Cape Town?
I don't know, 8.
8 miles? It's 8 miles from here uptown.
If you asked Francine, she'd say 100 million PM. 01.
OM is what she says.
OM.
When
I
we
don't
say,
know.
Franny, what time do you want us to wake you up tomorrow morning? She says 9:07 OM. Or when she weighs 298. Kids are the
I weigh
best.
298.
All right, so it was good. It's good to be back. We appreciate being back. I hope that some aspect of our sussing out of our marital problems was helpful today. It's good to be back. I like doing this podcast. We need to be much more diligent about doing it every week.
Change WE to I.
Even when we were in Cape Town, South Africa, the people coming up to us saying, I love your podcast. Please do your podcast. It means a lot to us, or it means a lot to me. It had a big impact on me.
Did it? Good.
Why?
I told you that's why I wanted to do it again. Even if like the 5 people that say we love your podcast, I was like, oh, I mean, I love doing it, but if somebody else likes it, then let's keep doing it. What?
No, you're right. You're right. And I think there's a difference. Like when I make a YouTube video, I'm able to look at a YouTube video when it's done and be like, okay, there's so much hard work put into that video. And I'm able to understand why I get, like when people say I like your videos, I'm like, cool, I like them too. But this podcast just feels like us talking about our issues. So it's easier for me to question whether or not this is like something meaningful or it's just something silly. And hearing from other people makes me appreciate that maybe it is something that is definitely worth us doing.
Mm-hmm.
Fair?
Fair.
Something that I've been meaning to share, it's a huge deal. I'm just not good at sharing this. I meant to tweet this. I don't know how to tweet it. Anybody who's thinking about doing a podcast, Anchor, the company that produces our podcast, they now are doing a thing, and I hope I don't butcher this, but where it's super ridiculously easy to monetize your podcast. It's like the way that you can turn monetization on in YouTube, they're doing a version of that with podcasting. So if you're a creator out there or whatever, and you have a podcast, even if it's small, which is really hard to monetize, I think Anchor can be super helpful. I say that because I like the guys at Anchor. Mike, the CEO, is a friend. It's a small company. They're trying to become a big company. I'm rooting for them. If ever you're interested in doing a podcast, check out what they have to offer, because I think that they have some really, really interesting opportunities, especially for smaller podcasters. All right. Thank you guys for listening. And as always, podcast.
Okay, that's enough. Everybody's tired of hearing your voice now. We'll see you.
And 5 stars.
Give us 5-star ratings because it helps
people
with
discover.
Casey's ego and all that jazz.
We'll see you next